Ezekiel's scroll and Revelation scroll. Two judgments, one covenant story. Text verse, Ezekiel 2, 9-10. And when I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. And there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe. 1. The mystery of Ezekiel's scroll. Many Bible students focus on Revelation's scroll, but overlook Ezekiel's scroll. Yet Ezekiel provides one of the clearest keys to understanding Revelation. Both scrolls were written on both sides. Both were connected to covenant judgment. Both appeared before the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. Understanding Ezekiel helps explain the opening of the seals in Revelation 2. What was written in Ezekiel's scroll? Ezekiel tells us exactly what was written in his scroll. It contained lamentations, mourning, and woe. These were covenant judgments against a rebellious nation. Israel had broken the covenant given through Moses. The scroll represented God's legal case against covenant-breaking Israel and the sentence about to be carried out. 3. Ezekiel eats the scroll. In Ezekiel chapter 3, God commanded the prophet to eat the scroll. Before proclaiming God's message, he first had to receive it. Eating the scroll symbolized accepting God's word. The same pattern appears in Revelation 10, when John also eats a scroll before continuing his ministry. Both prophets acted as covenant witnesses announcing coming judgment. 4. When was Ezekiel's scroll executed? The judgments written in Ezekiel's scroll were fulfilled through the Babylonian invasion of Judah, leading up to 586 BC. Ezekiel repeatedly warned that Jerusalem would fall because of covenant rebellion. The people trusted in the temple, but God's patience reached its limit. Babylon invaded, Jerusalem was besieged, famine spread, thousands died, and the temple was burned. The covenant curses of Deuteronomy were executed. 5. The First Temple Destruction. The destruction of Solomon's temple in 586 BC marked the end of an era. Israel lost the land, the temple, the priesthood, and the kingdom. Lamentations was written to mourn Jerusalem's fall. Everything Ezekiel saw in the scroll became reality. 6. The parallel with Revelation. More than 600 years later, John saw another scroll. Revelation 5:1 describes a scroll written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. The similarity is remarkable. Both scrolls were written on both sides. Both were connected to judgment. Both appeared before the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. Revelation intentionally echoes Ezekiel's vision. 7. What was in Revelation's scroll? Just as Ezekiel's scroll contained covenant judgments, Revelation's scroll likely contained God's covenant case against first-century Israel. The law established covenant obligations. The prophets recorded covenant violations. Together, they formed a covenant lawsuit. The opening of the seals released the covenant sentence. 8. The covenant curses return. When the seals are opened in Revelation 6, familiar judgments appear: war, famine, pestilence, death, and national upheaval. These are the same judgments found in Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Moses had warned that covenant rebellion would bring these consequences. Revelation reveals the final execution of those covenant warnings. 9. 2 temples, 2 judgments. Ezekiel's scroll came before the destruction of the first temple. Revelation's scroll came before the destruction of the second temple. Ezekiel warned of Babylonian judgment. Revelation warned of Roman judgment. Ezekiel's scroll resulted in Jerusalem's fall in 586 BC. Revelation's scroll resulted in Jerusalem's fall in AD 70. The first judgment ended the First Temple age. The second ended the Second Temple age. 10. Why only Jesus could open the scroll. Unlike Ezekiel's scroll, Revelation's scroll was sealed until the Lamb opened it. Only Jesus was worthy, because he alone fulfilled the covenant perfectly. Israel failed repeatedly, but Christ fulfilled every requirement of the law. The one who fulfilled the covenant was also qualified to execute its final judgment and establish the new covenant inheritance. 11. The greater message. The scrolls of Ezekiel and Revelation reveal the consistency of God's dealings with his covenant people. God keeps his promises and his warnings. The destruction of Jerusalem in 586 BC and again in AD 70 demonstrated that God's word cannot fail. 12. Conclusion. Ezekiel's scroll was a covenant judgment document fulfilled through the destruction of Jerusalem and the First Temple in 586 BC. Revelation's scroll follows the same pattern, but points to the destruction of Jerusalem and the Second Temple in AD 70. Both scrolls testify that God is faithful to his covenant and that his redemptive plan reaches fulfillment through Jesus Christ. Tom's 5 minutes. This study is only an outline for further research. Compare Ezekiel and Revelation carefully and notice how often the same themes appear. Questions and comments are always welcome as we continue.